I'm Joe Bev, and this is the Joe Bev Show. This time on the Joe Bev Show, Laurel and Hardy in For the Freedom of the World, Part 1. Table Talk by Daws Butler, and yours truly, Johnny Dollar, in The Thelma Ibsen Matter. That's coming up on the Joe Bev Show. Principal street on an American city in the spring of 1918. On the opposite sidewalk of the street are gathered many people come to bid farewell to the boys of the Cockerknocker Regiment, who are soon to march past on their way to France. Extending across the street, from the footlights to sidewalk, is a large white plaster arch, gaily decorated with the Allied colors. On this arch is the inscription, "For the Freedom of the World." Distant marching music is heard. This constantly grows louder during the ensuing dialogue, which takes place between three elderly women crowded together at the edge of the sidewalk. These women, although before the war of different stations in social rank, are now united, as are all mothers in the Allied countries, by the glorious badge which each proudly wears pinned over her heart, the service star.
"Oh, I hear them coming."
"So do I."
"I told my man where to look."
The approaching music and the cheering of the spectators drowns out any further conversation. Enters the regimental band. They march proudly through the arch. Following them comes the flag, at the sight of which all the male spectators, young boys and men too old to fight, remove their hats. After the colors come to the troops, splendid, clean-faced fellows, in whose eyes shine the light of civilization's ideals, in whose ears rings the never-forgettable cry of heroic France and of brave little Belgium. boys are marching four abreast, with a firm, determined step. It is as though each man were saying to himself,
"They shall not pass."
"They shall not pass."
"Och, they shall not pass."
After the first few squads have marched through the arch, the command is issued.
"Company, halt!"
Young Lieutenant Cocking-knocker repeats this order to his men.
"Company, halt!"
And the column comes to a stop. The men stand at attention until given the command,
"Rest!"
when they relax, and a murmur of conversation arises from the ranks, in which characteristic sentences,
"German ideals are not our ideals. Suppose it was your own sister."
show only too well what the boys are thinking of day and night. As the column halts, the three service star mothers rush out from the curb and embrace their sons, who happen to be in this company. At the same time, a very attractive girl runs up to the young lieutenant.
"Ellen!"
John!
"Mother!"
Mother!
"Och, mother!"
My boy! My boy! My boy!
"Company, attention!"
The farewells are said. The men come to attention.
"Forward! March! Forward! For the freedom of the world! March! Up, 2, 3, 4, up, 2, 3, 4. Left, 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 right, left, 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 right, left.
That's not your left, that's your right. That's not your right, that's your left. That's me left. I thought that was me. That's me left? Right. Well, which is it, me right or me left? It's your left. My left, your left. Right. See, it's my right and my left and the left and the right, and it's different to the first power. I think I got it. All right, go ahead. The men clench their teeth together, their heads are thrown back, and with a light in their eyes that somehow suggests Joan of Arc, the Crusaders move on. Months later, a section of an American frontline trench, now occupied by the Cocking-knocker Regiment. It is early morning, and the three soldiers mentioned in the previous scene are conversing together for perhaps the last time. For soon they are to be given the chance which every American man desires more than anything in the world, the opportunity to go over the top. Well, fellows, in a few minutes, we shall be able to show the people at home that their boys are not cowards when the fate of civilization is at stake. You're right. Here's a newspaper clipping me mom sent me. It's from a speech made the other day in Congress. And we and our children and our children's children's Will you get on with it? All right. And our children's will never forget the debt we owe those brave boys who are in France. For the children's children. That makes a fellow feel pretty good inside, doesn't it? It makes me glad that I'm doing my bit. And after the war, I hope the ideals which have inspired us all will make us better citizens in a better world. Not only will we be better citizens, not only will the torch of liberty shine more brightly, but also each one of us will go back to his job with a deeper vision. That's right. I'm a musician, a pianist.
I hope that after the war, I shall be able to tell America through my music all of the glory of this truly holy cause.
I didn't know you were a pianist.
I'm not, I'm a pianist.
It's the same thing.
I know it's the same thing, only it's different.
All right, get on with it.
Well, you see, ever since I was a young pup, I have had no other interest. My father wanted me to go into his business,
Putting broken biscuits back together.
but I wouldn't stand for it. He got angry and refused to support me. I had myself a hard time until I won a scholarship at a New York music conservatory. Just before the war, I had the chance to play a concerto with the Philharmonica. The critics all said that in another year I would be, but fellas, you must think me awfully conceited, frightfully so to talk this way. And besides, what matters my musical career in comparison with the sacrifice which everyone is making?
And gladly making too, for it is easy to give up all, as did Joan of Arc for France. Attention, men! Here comes Lieutenant Cockenknocker.
Well, men, do you feel ready?
More than ready, sir.
In fact, eager.
Brave men! Say, come here a minute, Laurel.
Yes, Lieutenant Cockenknocker?
I have something I want to ask you before we, go over the top. At ease! Thank you, sir.
Say, Laurel, when we go over, we may never come back, you know.
And I wanted to ask a favor of you. You see, I'm engaged to a girl back home. Look, here's a picture.
She certainly is beautiful, sir.
Yes, very beautiful. And between you and me, I love her. So if I should ever go west, I want you to write to her and tell her that my last thoughts were of country and her. We were to be married after the war. Her name is Ellen Ratsky-Watsky. Here, I'll write down the address for you. That's all, Laurel. Attention, men! The next bugle call, you go over the top.
Laurel and Hardy in For the Freedom of the World, Part 1. We'll have Part 2 next time.
Do you know that guy? Keeps looking over here.
Where?
That guy. Over there. Keeps looking at you. You know him?
Sure. Well, years ago I did. He pulled down the canopy at my cousin's garden party. He was much taller then.
How can you tell?
Because now he looks very short, standing there.
He's sitting down.
He is?
He's eating meatballs and kelp. And a raspberry malt. He's sitting at a table just like us.
How can you tell?
Because he looks like he's sitting.
I mean, how can you tell he's drinking a raspberry malt?
Because he looks like the classic type who would. Chocolate would have been the obvious choice. How do I know what he's eating or drinking? It's dark in here.
Ugh, meatballs and kelp. Why Harry would have ever made a specialty out of that is beyond me.
Well, they gotta have some kind of seafood on the menu. I wonder what he's really eating.
I gotta get new contact lenses. I could have sworn that guy was standing up.
Oh, Paul, your sense of humor. I almost believe you.
I should have realized that when a guy's at a table, he'd be sitting, not standing. But I hate generalizing. If a guy wants to eat standing up, I'll defend to the death his right to do it.
Nice paraphrase.
What?
Paraphrase, you know. Voltaire.
You think that's his name? That's not his name. You don't even know him.
I said paraphrase. Voltaire? I assumed that you knew that Voltaire originated the philosophical acceptance of the intellectually unacceptable. Ta-da!
His name doesn't sound anything like Voltaire. His name, well, unless he got married and changed it.
Somewhere along the line, I got the idea that men didn't change their name when they got married, but that women do. I heard it from a reliable source.
Well, he did. Twice. Got married twice. Changed his name to what his wife's was.
Hey, don't you think we better get a waitress over here?
No law against it, you know.
I'll check it in the almanac. What was this fellow's name when you first knew him?
Bitsy Plutarch.
Bitsy?
We shared a scholastic experience together. We were fellow students.
But he looks so much older than you.
He is. He was an underachiever. But I caught up with him.
Good for you. He doesn't look too bright.
We were on the rowing team at Death Valley Tech.
Death Valley? There's no water there.
That's not true. There's not much, but there's some. We raced a small shell, just the two of us.
You're too much.
I was the coxswain, but I didn't use a megaphone.
Why?
We were right on top of each other.
Boy, that's a new one on me. I never heard of Death Valley Tech having a rowing team.
Those Harvard and Princeton snobs never accepted our challenge.
Dirty guys.
So we never competed with them. Never got our letters either. I got a sweater with no letters on it.
Ashamed to wear it, right?
Like I said, his name was Bitsy Plutarch.
Bitsy Plutarch.
Next thing he did, he married Clarice Butsy.
Clarice Butsy?
So he changed his name.
To Bitsy Butsy! Oh, this is too much!
No. He didn't change his name to Bitsy Butsy.
But you said...
He dropped the Bitsy, kept the Plutarch. Plutarch Butsy.
Well, that does have more class, Paul.
No, it's got less. He was named after a tiny saint, Saint Bitsy. I think he should have dumped the Plutarch and kept the Bitsy.
So how long did the marriage last?
3 weeks and part of a Monday afternoon. Clarice got everything. He was left high and dry.
Cleaned him out, huh?
No, he got drunk at a Death Valley Tech reunion. The breakup was all to the good. See, Clarice was a healthy, normal girl, slightly anoidal, but anticipating the joys that marriage portended.
Portended?
What's wrong with portended?
Nothing, Paul. Nothing. What about Plutarch?
Well, you gotta understand something about Plutarch, Marion. To him, all stages of growth were academic. Somewhere along the line, he got the idea that puberty was an elective. And he forgot to sign up for it. So he missed out on it.
He missed out on it?
So there was this void in his psyche.
Well, he could have picked it up at night school.
He tried. Oh, God, he tried. Several times. But it was always oversubscribed.
The only class with no dropouts, right?
What's that supposed to mean? You're trying to be funny.
So he got married again?
I said he got married twice, didn't I?
Yes.
You remember my saying that?
Yes.
Well, he wasn't. I lied. Your vice, Marion, is stupidity. Mine is prevarication.
I am not stupid.
Well, then maybe yours is prevarication, too.
Huh?
Don't try to figure it out.
You haven't told me about your cousin's garden party.
And besides, she doesn't even know you.
I don't really... Let's just drop the whole stupid bit.
The garden party was 12 years ago.
When did Plutarch pull down the canopy?
I said 12 years ago.
I mean, at what point in the garden party did he mess it up? At the beginning? Or at the end, when it wouldn't have mattered so much?
What mess up? He was hired to pull down the canopy and return it to the canopy company after the party.
Well, you can introduce me. He's coming over here. I wonder why he took so long.
Hi, Dad.
Dad?
I tried to catch your eye, Paul.
Dad?
Yeah, there was a notation on my calendar to the effect that we were to have lunch today. I know. I kept thinking you were going to join me. I kept waiting for you to shake off whoever this is you got with you. Clarice is in the car. Why didn't Clarice come in for lunch? She didn't have any money. Aren't you going to introduce me to your friend? I hadn't thought about it.
Well, then I'll introduce myself. I'm Marion Prescott.
I've heard that name.
You have? When?
Just now. There's always an awkward pause when I say things like that. You see what I mean?
I'm sorry you missed puberty.
We've been all through that. I haven't.
You thought puberty was an elective, and you didn't sign up for it?
What are you? Clairvoyant?
No, retentive.
You want to go over to your table, Dad? You leaving Marion?
No. Actually, sir, I'm into brass rubbings. I go all over to get good ones.
You ever been to the shrine of St. Bitsy?
Then there really is a shrine?
Let's go, Dad.
I don't mean to be sacrilegious, but I'm more into famous dentures.
For instance?
Bernadette Peters?
She's not dead. Aha!
While she was asleep.
The raspberry malt. How was it, Dad? It was a chemical approximation, but not bad.
You mean there really was a raspberry?
Tomorrow, early, they're getting in the genuine raspberry syrup.
What about the meatballs and...
It goes great with meatballs and kelp.
Oh, my God.
What do you mean? It's the only seafood they got on the menu.
I didn't mean that. I'm confused.
So tomorrow you'll be coming back for the real raspberry malt, right? No, I'll have to forego it. When they get the real raspberry in it, it goes just like that. Snap. I don't remember you doing that. You doing what? Saying snap instead of snapping your fingers? Son, when you missed out on puberty, you get a little crazy. Have to live with it, I guess.
Hold it a minute. I don't get this dad thing. I mean, if you missed out on puberty, I mean, how...
Isn't it obvious? Even to you, Marion. I'm adopted.
None of this makes any sense.
Oh, I didn't want you to know about it, Paul. Then why did you tell me? Did I tell you when I was a golden-haired 4-year-old? I guess I did at that. What happened was, there was a lull in the conversation, and I guess it just slipped out. It just Slipped out. You cried a lot, but you did finish your pudding. Grape.
I'm terribly confused. Forgive me, but were you married for 3 weeks and part of a Monday afternoon and then divorced?
No, indeed. Our marriage, though never consummated, has been an enduring one. My mating has been checked.
What do you mean?
I guess you don't play chess. Clarice knows more about back-rank defense than any woman in the world. With the possible exception of Indonesia, they never sent me back the forms. Over 30 years, and I have yet to win one game.
Why do you keep playing?
When you missed out on puberty, you gotta do something. Well, I better get around to what I've been putting off all these years.
The canopy?
How did you know?
I didn't, really. There was a canopy?
I almost returned it several times, but then I'd sensed that my queen was in danger, or my king unprotected, and I'd get all perspiry and...
Did you and Paul race a shell at Death Valley Tech?
So, what about it? Harvard and Princeton finally going to accept our challenge? You know anything about this, Paul? Maybe we'll finally get our letters.
Oh my God. Were you an underachiever?
Yeah, I sure was. Not proud of it, but Paul caught up with me. Best thing that could have happened. Made us very close. Paul?
Yes, Dad?
20 years is a long time. I'm going to take that canopy back right now. So long!
Say hello to Mom for me.
Why don't you run outside and say hello yourself? You make her feel good all over. Maybe make her stop crying now.
No, I'd rather you did it for me. So long.
So long. Hope the canopy man ain't sore. Sure has faded.
Well?
Well, what?
Would you like to get a waitress over here now? Miss, incidentally, how'd you like my dad?
Oh my God.
Where are you going?
Away. Just away.